Okay. All right. We're going to get started here. I'll turn it over to Coach, let him make a statement, and then we'll move on to your questions.
Good morning, everybody. Obviously, been a few days since we played. We had to take Sunday and Monday off again due to some unusual circumstances with recruiting. Because we have 3 games next week, we had to take an extra day this week. So I got back after it yesterday, and then we'll get obviously go here in a few minutes before we head to Evanston. Interesting game versus Purdue. As I told our guys, it's not often that you go 9 for 22 from the free throw line, have a 19-0 run against you, and find a way to win. And yeah, we did. I'm really, really proud of where we're at defensively. We've jumped.
You've got kids now who.
We've jumped about 15 spots in our DER nationally. I think that's one of the things that we're. I think that's one of the things that we're really excited about. We keep talking about how to win games when the ball doesn't go in. And yeah, we had some real incredible spurts in that Purdue game. So we did a terrific job on Sasha. We left him open a couple of times in transition, and then we did a really good job on Hunter. And then I thought something that didn't get talked about enough was Kofi's job defensively on Williams, especially in the first half. Everything was contested. Everything was through his wall, and that was why they had 23 points at half. So all in all, it was an ugly Big Ten game, but one we found a way to win when we sure were not at our best, and we'll have to play better than that against Northwestern, a team that was ranked last week, a team that again has a lot of veterans. They've gotten older. They have one of the outstanding players, in my opinion, in Miller Kopp in our league, a guy that has just continued to get better and better. They will give us something that we have not seen a lot of. It'd be kind of Maryland-like last year with Stick Smith and Pete Nance, kind of a pick and pop 5 that has been very effective for them. He's having a nice year, and then of course Bowie is always explosive. And they've got a transfer from William and Mary that's had a impact on the other wing spot. So this is a team that's very, very gifted offensively. Chris does a great job of scheming and putting those guys in positions. They're playing a little faster. Their possessions are up. They're playing a little looser offensively, kind of letting some of those guys go. But all in all, we'll have to play very, very well. And they've been a team that have been very, very tough at home. Their home numbers versus their road numbers are substantially different. And we're very aware of that.
Okay, we'll get started with our questions. Please reminder that you're muted if you are not the one asking a question. Thank you.
Yeah, Coach. What specifically does Northwestern present? They really improved offensively. You mentioned your defense has improved the last few games. What specific challenges do you see from them?
Well, they're veteran for one, and they've been in that system together. They're a highly skilled team. Miller Kopp is a guy that reads situations extremely well. You get above him, he back cuts. He's got size. He's turned into a terrific 1-2 dribble pull-up guy. He's got great range. And then, with Pete playing at the 5, they play a lot of screen, rescreen action where he can just pop and hand off with Bowie. You have to respect Bowie because he's a very capable and deep 3-point shooter. So they stress you at all 5 spots because they can score at all 5 spots. Barnes is another guy that, again, was fighting a little ankle injury, came back in the second half of the Michigan game, got cooking from 3. We know he hurt us last year. So they can shoot it from all 5 spots, and that becomes a little tougher guard.
Did you learn anything from what Michigan showed of how they shut down that offense?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's a little bit different than us in terms of their size. Wagner being 6'9" and uh, can guard multiple positions at that size. But I think we are who we are. We've been pretty simple, but schematically, we've got a few things that we'll try, and we there's some things we can't do that Michigan did.
Thanks.
Brad, I think it's a little bit alarming for the team that you just played to be involved in a COVID postponement. I assume so far all of you guys are testing negative. Everything's good.
Yeah, correct.
And overall health of the team, how has Ben been practicing? And if we've heard anything about Tyler recently, I missed it.
No, Tyler got cleared right after the Indiana game, and he had been in practice leading up. He had just had a kind of a 2-week workup to get ready for games. Ben is back in practice as well, so he's been doing great. Again, just kind of getting his feet wet back into the everyday routine of practice, playing back into game shape, and so both those guys have been in practice and have been doing great.
And because we saw Coleman, but not Jake last game, would you give us an update on how the Coleman, Ben, Jake?
I don't know. I think, Rob, I'm just going to flip a coin and see which one I like, going before. Heads will be Coleman, tails will be Jake. They've both been practicing great. And I think one of the things that we're really contemplating is Jake gives us some nice luxury being able to really slide over at the 3. Coleman's a little more comfortable at the 4. We kind of had to sort through that a little bit, his comfort zone. Coleman will eventually play a lot of small forward for us at different times, but so we're Jake's getting a lot more reps at the 3 right now than he is kind of at that 4 spot.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Brad, the free throws you mentioned, I know every team shoots 1 million of them in practice. Is it a mental thing for free throws at any level?
Yeah, it's just like going 24 for 28 one game. It's not a. I always attest free throw shooting when you miss them to being mentally not sharp and maybe not as focused as you need to be. And for us, just the other night, it just became contagious. I mean, I'd watch Coleman hit 50 in a row in practice and step up and miss one. And again, that's his inexperience. And Kofi was approaching 70% until the other night, and he's been in working at it. So I don't expect a repeat performance from that. But again, we practice them, and last week was more on me than it was anything else, just because we didn't shoot enough of them last week.
The first net rankings are out, number 4. What does that mean to you? I know it's not the same as a media AP ranking, but it's early in the process too.
No, I think we always pay attention as coaches to the net because there's so many analytics involved in that. And then there's every factor. I mean, from Ken Palm to the rankings to everything else. And, I think it rewarded us for our strength of schedule. I think it's, if Duke moves up, then it becomes, potentially even higher. But, it's very early. I like where we're at there. I'd rather be there than just about any place else. There are only 3 other spots I'd rather be. So, but it's a good place because it's what actually the selection committee uses and in terms of evaluation. And you saw how drastic some differences are between that and the polls.
Thanks a lot.
Brad, your last 2 games have been, different, maybe style-wise than your first 3 in Big Ten play. Just how important has it been to see maybe different styles like that, and in both cases find ways to win games?
Yeah, Scott, I think every opponent has a different scheme, a different style of play. We've happened to just face 2 that I think are as good defensively as any teams in the country, and in Indiana and Purdue. And what they do is very effective. You got a team in Purdue who is one of the slowest paces in the country. So, they play with a different style. So you've got to be able to adapt. You've got to be able to win different ways. Whether it's scoring 90 or whether it's scoring 60. And again, I think that all stems back and gets tied to our defense and gets tied to our rebounding, and those things can carry you a long ways.
I guess as it applies to your guys, just what does it take for a team to be able to maybe shift gears from those kind of high octane, high scoring Big Ten games you had to maybe knowing Purdue's got to slow it down as much as possible and still be effective and efficient?
Yeah, I think you prepare for the 2 days leading up, or the day leading up, the 2 days, and so you get a mind frame of what that game's going to be about. When you play a certain team, that it's going to be high tempo, fast paced, a little bit looser. When you get the big boy from Purdue checking in the game, that they're going to cram it down your throat with him. They're going to, he's going to be a high usage guy, and they're going to make 7 or 8 passes till they get it to him. Those are all things that scouting report helps prepare our guys mentally for what's coming.
Hey, Brad, the announcement that the entire NCAA tournament will be in Indiana, your reaction to that, is that potentially a benefit for you think?
I don't know if it's I think it's a benefit for everybody. I think it's awesome. I think Dan Gavitt and his staff and his people, I think it's great foresight. I think it's Indianapolis is a city that's proven that it can host major events like this, and then to really in a pretty quick fashion get it put together at other sites, so teams aren't having to travel crisscross the country. We're talking about safety. I think it's brilliant. I think they're to be commended for doing that. Whether it helps us or not, it's close. I like that part of it, but that'll still be to be determined, as if there's fans, if what all that picture looks like as we continue to go here in the next couple months.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, good morning. I know you don't always like to compare players all the time, but Io and Adam kind of have similar stories coming into their freshman seasons, and each kind of had their freshman struggles, I guess you could say. How have you kind of seen Io maybe mentor Adam through some of the freshman growing pains that he's had in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome. Not only are they close because they were teammates in high school, but what they're going through is really normal. You're exceptional if you're not going through that, and you're put into a situation where a lot is expected, and Io, through past experience, has been able to help him through that and tell him what's coming and tell him what he went through, what helped him get through it. Io wasn't that fortunate, didn't have that experience, and kind of had to ride the rails a little longer, but those two are really close. They work out together a lot. That's a great tool to help Adam get through that, his work. And we're seeing that every single day in practice, him continuing to get better. But Io's been a big help.
Thinking kind of go through these struggles that he had in the last couple of weeks, and I know you said you think he's real close to just breaking out, but is that something that we can maybe see against Northwestern?
I hope so. I think it's it's really nice in our grade out this week that the Curbelo and Adam were 2 of our 3 top defensive guys. And when things start to click on that end, things usually don't fall far behind on the other end. So I don't know when it'll be, but I know it's coming.
Thanks, Coach.
Brad, you've mentioned this grade out system a few times. What does that kind of encompass? Like, what does that look at?
Yeah, it's pretty detailed, to be honest. It'd take me too long to go through everything, but it's based on points given up over a 40-minute game, and it puts into play hands on closeouts, getting in the right gap, being in the right position, not being in the right position, the right ball screen call, the right ball screen footage. It just goes on and on. And so after every game, we have a group of guys that put all that together, and it's graded out. And then it's the points given up. Like Trent spent most of the night guarding Sasha. The 2 baskets Sasha got, only one was on Trent. And that was the first play of the second half, which was a really, really hard shot. And but Trent makes so few mistakes. So, he's usually right there in the lowest points per game given up. But again, it's mistakes, and then there are some rewards for positives.
And then shifting back to Northwestern, since you took over at Illinois, this game has been really close over the 3 years. So, like, what do you kind of attribute that to?
I think that anytime you want to, I call it a rivalry, in-state battle, everybody knows everybody. It's the Big Ten. I think it doesn't differentiate from any other real Big Ten game. I think all Big Ten games are pretty close. And since I've been here, the league's been great. And, I think it's just another Big Ten team. And they've we were 2 dog fights last year. I don't expect anything different tomorrow. It's just one of those deals. You can kind of throw out the records and throw out, it's Illinois versus Northwestern. We're in the same state, and both teams are going to fight and compete really hard.
Hey, Brad, according to KenPom, you guys are 6th in offensive efficiency, which I believe is the highest since that year at Oklahoma State for you. And short of really good players, what are some common threads there that allow that kind of ranking?
We could pass. I mean, truthfully, at the end of the day, having IQ guys who can pass. If you look at all the top teams, you have to have shot makers, Joey. Yes. But if you can't pass, you can't play offense. It gets really hard. Then everything becomes off the bounce, and baskets aren't assisted, and so on and so forth. And we were a completely different team in terms of we didn't have Kofi. We didn't have a low post scoring threat, but we could really, really shoot it, and we could really pass it. And that's the one similarity is our ability. It's helped our shooting this year, is our ability to pass. And we're able to do that with IQ and feel and deliver the ball in the right time and get guys easy baskets. And that's the one common thread.
And Coach, leading up to the Purdue game, Coleman hadn't gotten a whole lot of minutes. You had mentioned that he was practicing really well. Have you seen him respond to success? And that was the first time he had made a shot in a game since the season opener.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good. Again, we had 2 days off, but he was really good yesterday. He was active. Coleman has natural instincts, and if you remember, he got beat on a play and then recovered and blocked a shot right at the start of the game. He gets an offensive rebound. That's because of effort and instinct. And he got the ball. He got the offensive rebound over the big kid. So it's little things like that. And then when you see your first shot go in, that just kind of gives you the weights off your back a little bit. And he was really good yesterday in practice. I expect him to keep growing with confidence and playing great.
This is normally a road trip night before. Maybe you pop into Morgan Park, Whitney Young, Stevenson. Not able to do that, obviously, over the weekend, a home game. You're not able to host recruits. What's in-season recruiting like for you and your staff right now?
A lot of Zooms, Derek. It's so different. It's really unprecedented. And you still check the portal every day. You're dialed into recruits. You're watching games. The grind session games coming up, and high school games online, and it's just different that way. And so I really, really miss the person-to-person contact, but everybody's got the same issues. So we do Zooms, and that's the way we communicate today.
One more real quick. For those that aren't playing, is it hard to evaluate or know when maybe you'll get to see some other guys again?
Yeah, No question. No question. I mean, it's the unknown. You know, it's the elephant. You know, when are we gonna see you again? When are we gonna go to, you know, we're gonna have a spring recruiting, we're gonna have a summer recruiting. What's it gonna look like? You know, when are we gonna bring kids to campus? I don't know.
Thanks, Coach.
Brett, I kind of had a follow up to the questions I'd asked you. Do you have a preference for style, or is there the team, are they more comfortable one way or the other?
One that allows us to score one more point than our opponent. Style's something that we can try to influence, and we do because of our running. So teams have to adjust to that, you know, and if you look at our last two opponents, they've sent 3 or 4 guys back to try to stop us in transition. So we force some things ourselves, but we can't do that at the expense of trying to be really sloppy. And you know, we had 18 points under 20 seconds against Purdue. You know, that's a pretty good number where, you know, in the Duke game, we had 34. You know, Minnesota game, we had 33. So, you know, sometimes we can force it, sometimes we can't. But we've got to be able to settle in and play how we need to play, especially on the defensive side to sustain winning.
Thank you.
Hey, Brett, I also
Questions here.
you talked about passing. Obviously, Andre is a really, really good passer, but it's got to be more than that. Is it guys comfortable in the offense, know where the shots are, know, you know, where to zip that ball around to get the best shots? I mean, I feel like maybe all of that comes into play.
There's no doubt. And we talk a lot about, we use 3 words a lot: race, space, and pace. And in no particular order, but obviously the race is how fast we want to play. The pace is the pop we have in the half court with our cuts. And then everything else is spacing. And you know, and spacing is knowing where guys are at and creating the right distance away and making coverages hard and making tags hard on Kofi and making those reads. And again, that's our guys are more comfortable doing that. We've prepared, I think, for every situation. Gent does a great job with our guards in terms of practicing all those situations every day. We're going to see a hard hedge. Here's where the tag's coming from. Here's where we've got to hit the shake or the throwback. All those things. And there's no doubt preparation helps a great deal in teams understanding where to go with the ball.
Okay, this is the last question.
Brad, regarding the portal, I suppose you can't name names. Have there been any recent additions that you've been in touch with?
Good question, Rob. One I can't answer.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I'll wrap us up today. For those that are going to join after practice, I put an estimated time for IO. Well, I'm going to open that up a little early in case I estimated too late. So call him around like 3:15ish, and if we have to wait a little bit, we will, or we'll go right away. Thank you.
What time did you say, Derek?